Good evening. I was reading a book recently. Big mistake. Books are dangerous. You start with one innocent chapter, and 3 hours later you're questioning literacy itself. The book said learning to read changes the brain. Apparently literacy rewires neural circuits, and I thought, interesting. Then I made the mistake of continuing the thought. What if reading changes the brain, and coding is just literacy on steroids? Reading is already strange. You stare at dead trees. The dead trees become symbols. The symbols become thoughts. The thoughts become emotions. And somehow you end up crying because of a collection of tiny black insects arranged on paper. Human beings are very impressive and also completely insane. Then we invented software. Now instead of symbols describing reality, we create symbols describing symbols describing symbols describing reality. Sometimes. How many developers here? Yes, I recognize you. You're the people who say, actually, that's not a button, it's a component. No, it's a button. You built a religion around rectangles. I worked in software for many years, and one thing I noticed, many developers become incredibly powerful in one dimension. You meet a man, 50 years old, chief architect, Oz, distributed systems, multi-region failover, event source and Kubernetes, 12 certifications, 3 mortgages. Then he arrives at a grocery store. 22-year-old cashier smiles, hello, and suddenly, production is down. He doesn't have an architecture for this. This service was never implemented. No requirements, no documentation, no acceptance criteria. The human legacy system. And I don't mean this as criticism. I understand. We spent 30 years optimizing for a world of abstractions. Then one day AI arrives and starts taking over abstractions. The code writes itself. The documentation writes itself. The reports write themselves. The presentations write themselves. The status updates write themselves. And suddenly, something strange happens. You look up. You realize you've spent 30 years staring at symbols, words, diagrams, tickets, spreadsheets, pull requests, PowerPoint slides explaining PowerPoint slides. And meanwhile, reality was operating without documentation. There are trees, people, music, dogs, mountains, conversations, entire civilizations running in production without a single architecture diagram. Terrifying. Remember the horse? My poodle once saw a horse, looked at it, thought for a second, then decided no, and walked away. The horse remained, the dog remained, but the investigation was cancelled. Humans do this too. AI appears. I don't want to think about it. Retirement appears. I don't want to think about it. Meaning of life appears. I don't want to think about it. Horse after horse after horse, and we keep choosing squirrel. Then people tell stories about the good old days, you know the type. Back in my day, we wrote code ourselves, yes. And back in your day, people memorized telephone numbers. Nobody wants that feature back. Digital Chernobyl was never about technology. It was about people standing inside abandoned control rooms, explaining old dashboards to audiences that already left. The reactor is fine. Nobody cares. Maybe that's why AI scares people. Not because it takes away coding, not because it takes away writing, not because it takes away reports, but because it takes away the excuse. For years we said, I don't have time. The project, the sprint, the deadline, the release, the mortgage, the second mortgage. Then one day the machine says, fine, I'll do that part. And now you're standing there, 50 years old, chief architect, Oz. 12 certifications, 3 mortgages, looking at another human being, or a horse, or a sunset, or your own life. And for the first time, there is no ticket to hide behind. You know what's funny? I spend an hour talking about returning to reality, and then I upload the result to YouTube, performed by an artificial voice over AI generated slides to people watching on phones. This is not exactly camping in the forest, but maybe that's how it starts. You don't jump from cloud architecture directly into enlightenment. First you write a strange stand-up show, then a song, then a photograph, then a conversation.